Hello, today we're going to talk about using the CoffeeScript programming language to help us compute expressions in arithmetic. So for example, if I want to know what 5 plus 7 is, I can ask the computer to give me the answer 12. And I can do this with much bigger numbers where the result might not be so obvious. And there are basically four operations that I'm going to cover today. There's addition, which I've already shown you. There's subtraction, there's multiplication, and there's division. So let's cover subtraction. If you want to ask the computer to tell you the difference between two numbers, then you would type the first number minus the second number. And hopefully this makes a lot of sense if you've encountered this in grade school or whenever. Okay, now multiplication is a little bit tricky, and I'll explain why in a second, but basically the only thing that's slightly tricky about multiplication is that the character that you use for multiplication is going to be this asterisk, and I'll show you where that is on the keyboard. But here I'm asking for the product of the numbers 8 and 7, and the computer is able to give me the result. So I found an image of a keyboard. Your keyboard might not look exactly like this, but it probably looks pretty similar. And the way you find the asterisk is you find the 8 on the keyboard. And in order to type it, you need to hold down the shift key while you're typing 8. Hopefully you're pretty familiar with how to use a keyboard, but if you're not, being able to type is a pretty important skill for programming. And you can probably find some good resources online to help you learn how to type. But let's get back to where we were before. So let's see, I've covered addition, subtraction, and multiplication. The last operation that we're going to talk about today is division. So if I take 14 and divide it by 2, I would expect the computer to give me the number 7, and indeed it does. We can try out some other facts where we can verify the answer. 20 divided by 4 is indeed equal to 5. If we pick a number that's not exactly divisible by 4, the computer will calculate it for us and actually give us the correct decimal value for it. So that's very helpful. So let's talk a little bit about this program here that's running. So I should mention first that we're using a programming language called CoffeeScript, and the reason I chose CoffeeScript is it's a language that I'm familiar with, and I think it's a language that is fairly approachable for beginners. But the concepts that you're learning here can actually be applied equally to many other programming languages. Most traditional mainstream programming languages understand arithmetic exactly as we're typing it here. But this console program is basically doing what's called a read, evaluate, print loop. So actually, let's just refresh this real quick so that I'm kind of back to the beginning. Okay. So the first thing it does is it reads whatever I type, and then it evaluates it, and then it prints it. So you won't really see the second step because it's sort of happening underneath the covers. But basically, it's read, evaluate, print, and then it loops back to the beginning and reads the next thing. So if I come over here, 3 times 10, it's going to read the second expression, evaluate it, and print it out. And you'll notice the letters down here say read, evaluate, or I'm sorry, the letters are R-E-P-L, and of course that is the name of this website, and that is not a coincidence. Okay, so I just want to cover really one more concept before we go. I've been doing very simple arithmetic, kind of one expression at a time, but you can actually ask the computer to kind of do a bunch of steps for you in sequence. So let's say I want to add the numbers 3 plus 7, and then I want to multiply that by 5. I would expect what the computer is going to do is take the numbers 3 and 7, add those together as 10, and then basically like replace what was in the parentheses and give me 10 times 5, which should be 50. So you could think of it as really doing two steps. It starts with 3 plus 7 times 5, and then underneath the covers it's actually evaluating 3 plus 7 to be 10, and then again underneath the covers it's doing that multiplication to get 50. Okay, so that's the end of the exercise or the lecture today. Just going to show you one last thing. If you want to try this out yourself, I highly encourage it. You're going to go to the website here. It's called repl.it, and again, just remember that REPL stands for Read, Evaluate, Print Loop. And when you arrive at the site, if you've never actually been there before, you're probably going to see this Select a Language page, and you're going to want to scroll over to the right, and then you're going to want to scroll down, and you're going to want to find the link that says CoffeeScript, and that'll bring you to the page that we've been working with during this video. That's all for now.